What's up? I am Ian Martin Allison, side musician, bass player with Eric Hutchinson, Scott's Bass Lessons, and this is why you should never, ever, under any circumstance, listen to the Reverend and the Reprobate.
Scott Devine, I think of you, and I think of Phil Mann. Those are,
sure.
Those are the three guys. So how does that happen?
Okay, so check it out. I mean, when I turned 40 and had my awakening, I had spent the decade of my 20s in this rock band, and then I spent the decade of my 30s all doing side musician stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's pros and cons to both. I was tunnel visioned with my band. We're going to take over the world. Of course, we don't take over the world, right? Now I pivot. Now it's side musician stuff for 10 years, and I go, ooh, I'm really missing some creativity. I'm really missing some, not so much creativity actually as just control over my own destiny, or at least a semblance of a felt control, like always being at an artist's whim of record cycle, tour cycle, right? I was like, man, I need somehow to combine these things. I need to feel like, in control and also still the ability to play with other people. And what that was for me, it wasn't going to be like a slap bass record. I wasn't going to make, like an Ian Allison solo album. I mean, that's actually something I do want to make, but at the time it was about content. I was like, I like speaking. I like presenting. I like, talking about the things that I feel really passionate about. So what if I just take Instagram really seriously? That felt honestly easier to me and more fun than, well, now I need to book all this studio time and get a band together and go back through my phone and record all these ideas. Like making a record felt really daunting. Taking Instagram really seriously for a couple of months felt fun. So I was remodeling I was putting some hardwood floors in my little studio and buying a rug and just documenting that process. So instead of thinking about what post I could make and like what cool music I should play and the highlight reel, I was just shooting video of Uncle Rick coming over and helping put flooring in, and whenever I did something that was bass educational, I would tag Scott. So no fool I mean, I was definitely trying to target him. I wanted to get on his radar.
Right.
And I remember my wife saying to me, he's going to contact you within 1 year. And I thought, that's preposterous. He'll never contact me. I'll always be the guy like waving, from far away. Yeah. And there was a moment.
Scott.
Is that really? Yeah, exactly. Scott, hey, do you know me? I tag you a lot. I annoy you so much. There was this great moment where I had sort of taken a break, not an intentional break. I just hadn't posted in like 5 days or whatever. And I woke up and I had like 600 new followers, which almost doubled my follower count at the time.
Whoa.
I was like, what? Like, it was like, the thing appears in your, it's like the hearts and the thing and and it said 657 or something. And I was like, oh, what happened? And I found, and Scott Devine, 2 camera, he's doing this to his phone. He's going, Ian, where are you? I feel like you've gone. Everybody on SBL, I want you to go follow this app right now, Ian Martin Allison, because I feel like he's gone and he can't stop posting because I've become addicted to watching his stories, which I didn't know. I mean, I wasn't viewing any analytics at the time. And so he called me out in an amazing way. Right.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, okay, it's on. And so I messaged him and said, I love what you do. I'm good at X, Y, and Z. And this whole thing of like, if it's cool, do it. I really tried to apply that to Scott. I said, hey, I think that I could serve you in 1 to 3 of these arenas. If you think that I'd be good for anything that you do, just tell me and I'll just do it. Like, I'll just do it. Yeah. Like, I'm not like, and let's negotiate the contract and let's talk about money. And I just said, I'll just do it. Whatever. Just let me know. And dude, there was a day where he said, oh, that'd be so great. Yeah. maybe we'll, and it was all kind of pie in the sky.
Right.
And then, a few weeks later, he was like, I just sent you an email. And I was driving and I was like, oh, and I pulled the car over and I'll never forget. Like I opened my email and it was this, like, I'd like you to do this. I'd like you to do this. I'd like you to do this. Here's what we pay for all of these things. And I looked at that and I wept. I wept. I just was like, oh, it's like, I couldn't, I mean, just the acknowledgement, the opportunity, right? The relationship that came from just trying to be me on the internet, you know, taking this risk and like, hey, I'm going to try to be myself and post a lot on this platform, not floss, not just, you know, try to play the fastest crap I can play, but really talk and play about the things that I really love. And this guy gets it and he wants me to be a part of it. And that's how it started, man. And so, you know, I just did with Scott what I've tried to do with everybody else. I tried to do a really good job.
Yeah.
You know, like my first opportunity, I tried to just like kill it and put in the work. And not be like, oh, well, it's only X amount of dollars. I mean, it was very fair, a great, like a fine amount of money. But like, still you could say, oh, well, that's not worth, I mean, I put in like hundreds of hours making that first course, getting it all ready to go. But it led to then, you know, again, the best thing I've ever been a part of, which is SBL. It's amazing, man.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
It's just little steps. Like Scott would say, can you do this? I'd say, yep. And he'd say, can you do this? And I'd say, yes. And I would really try to do it well. There are a few things I haven't done so well, you know, but then having the humility to say, ooh, I don't know that I'll be great at this. Or, you know, I mean, we were just having that conversation today. He was like, is there too much on your plate? You know, if there is, you just need to tell me, because he just throws stuff at me and I want to say yes and I want to do it, but you know, and I need a cloning device.
Yeah, which would be great if we could clone you, because one of you could go on tour and the other one could just give lessons to the rest of us plebs.
Yeah, dude.
So that's really, I mean, that's the truth of the matter. So you're working with SBL now. Now you're on the podcast. I got to watch my very first feature this past week where you are looking at people's like recordings and giving them feedback.
Oh, yeah.
I think this probably is my favorite feature on the site now, and I've got it like running in the background because like hearing what people are playing and then hearing the feedback while I'm doing other things has been super helpful. I might ask a cringy question here, right? So, like, how do you ever give feedback to people and say, "Hey, look, I'm gonna give you a little bit of feedback, but I'm not gonna use your video because I don't want to put that out there." Is there like a backdoor where you do that kind of thing, or is it just the videos you pick get the feedback?
No. You know, actually, it's so funny that you talk about. So there's a program on SBL called Student Focus, and it is not as popular as I think it should be. And it's kind of like Scott actually did it himself. He did like 140 episodes of it himself before I came on, and then he was like, "Can you take over Student Focus, or can we share it?" So that's another thing I did. I would do, every 2 weeks, he would do the other 2 weeks. We do it twice a month. And I love it. I mean, I love it. But here's the thing, man. Not very many people submit to that program because it's actually pretty vulnerable and like difficult to get something together enough, get a camera and a light and, have an audio setup. I mean, you guys know, like it takes some wherewithal to like make that thing happen and then put it up for critique. I mean, it's funny. Like I just did one. I submitted to the program. There's a new guy named Craig Strain who's doing it now too. He's great. His name is Bass Lessons Melbourne. He lives in Australia. On Instagram, he's an amazing player, great dude. And so he was like, "Hey, we should trade sometime." And I was like, "Oh, that's such a great idea." And so I did this piece that I felt like I have a chord melody arrangement of All the Things You Are, this old jazz standard that I've been working on for years. And I submitted it and I was all sweaty palms and, so it's like, what can be better about this? How's my phrasing? And then he just sent one back to me. And that's all public too. So the last one has my submission and this next one that I do will have his. But yeah, it's typically about 20 students that do it. And no, we don't. Currently, there aren't enough people that actually use that feature. And we can handle like the workload. It's fine. Wow. It's crazy.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I really enjoy it. And I think when people do that, when people are like humble themselves enough to say, here's the thing I'm working on, I want your feedback on XYZ, you're getting the good out of it by even going there to begin with.
Right.
You know, like creating that video and talking about what you want feedback on, you kind of already know what I'm going to say, probably. Now, there's cases where there's technique stuff that they're not seeing, and I say, ooh, careful with, your wrist angle or pinky or whatever. But I mean, people that submit to that program, my hat's off like forever, because it's so vulnerable. The whole place can watch you, watch you suck at something or watch you be great at something, and everywhere in between. But my feedback is never like, oh, this sucks. It's like, hey, this is incredible that you're participating. Here's the things that will take you to the next level.
I always feel like if I submit to that the immediate response is going to be shame.
You suck. You suck. You suck.
Yeah, like that's it.
Wait, dude, you got to do it. Lucas, you got to do it.
I